Good evening. I'm Dr. Fred Rouse, the Real Money Doctor, and it's currently Saturday, March 28th. I'm going to do my daily recap here of the events of the day and how they affect you and your ability to get, protect, and enjoy your money, your life, and retirement. Now, just understand this is just a recap. I can't do everything in the short time that I have here. So what I've been doing, and I will continue to do, is to post a number of links on my YouTube channel with additional information and that supplement what I've been talking about and some other things that are interesting and or entertaining at least. So that, while you're home, you've got something else to do besides just watch all the news. So, what's going on right now? Of course, we lead off with the healthcare situation. March 26th, just a couple days ago, the U.S. took the #1 spot for the most cases worldwide. Right now, as of about a half an hour ago, there were over 120,000 cases in the U.S. by itself. Of that 120, there's been an additional 1,900 deaths, over 1,900 deaths so far. Italy right now has 92,000 cases, so we're way beyond Italy. Italy has 10,000 dead at this point in time. Now, we have 120 cases, 120,000 cases. They have 92,000 cases. They have 10,000 dead. We currently only have just under 2,000 dead at this point in time. What's happening over there is going to be happening here, without a doubt in the world. It's already done there. It's happening here. And it's starting, the epicenter of this entire thing is in New York City right now. And New York State by itself has 52,000 cases. So of the 120,000 cases of the United States, New York State has 52,000 of those cases. Of the 1,900 dead, okay, New York State has 728 of those. New York City itself has 517 of those. So this is a real big deal. People keep blowing this off like, oh, it's all fake news. There are still people, I'm still noticing posts that it's all overblown. Well, it's overblown until it gets into your neighborhood. Okay? Things are happening that you might not completely understand. Take a peek at the bigger picture because this is a real big deal. This is not going to go away anytime soon. Now, right now, based on the numbers, they don't expect us to peak in the New York area for another 14 to 21 days yet. Another 14 to 21 days. Now, New Jersey is #2. New Jersey has 11,000 cases right now and over 140 people dead. Okay. What's happening there in the New York area is spreading to the rest of the country. Right now, they're looking at Detroit and Chicago as probably the next big centers. People in Louisiana are getting a real eye-opening right now. They had the Mardi Gras down there because the federal government just blew this off. It wasn't a big deal. When they had the Mardi Gras, they checked, no big deal. Okay. They ran it, and now all those cases are starting to show up now. Again, the local people did what they were supposed to do, but the federal government took a back seat and just blew this off. Well, they're not blowing it off right now. Now, the healthcare workers are really, really exposed. The frontline people, every minute of every day, they're exposed to this thing. Their stress level is rising. Again, they were trained for lots of stuff. They weren't trained for this volume of activity. And if you're in healthcare, you expect to see sick and dying people. It's just part of the field. You understand that when you go in. Most people go in because they want to make a difference. They want to help. Okay. There's only so much of them that they can give. The volume that they have to deal with right now in lower New York State is absolutely phenomenal. Hospitals are starting to drown in patients. They've never seen anything like this before. They have no training for this. No training could have possibly let them know the type of volume that they were going to be dealing with. Now, it's so bad that because the doctors, nurses, and staff, they understand that they're exposed all day long. They also understand that the equipment they have is not sufficient to really protect them. And in some cases, the way the equipment is being handled, because of the shortages, okay, 1 mask per week, 1 PPE, 1 outfit, okay, per shift, they could actually be spreading the disease inside the hospital themselves because of the lack of proper equipment. Now, people can discuss that both ways, but again, it was intended to be disposable equipment to begin with. Single use. You dress up, you see the patient, you dress down and wash. Okay. If they can't do that because they have to reuse the equipment, okay, chances are they're spreading this from patient to patient. Just the odds are in their favor. Chances also are that these people are going to be exposed at some point in time. They don't want to expose their families, so at the end of their shift, a lot of doctors, nurses, and staff are now either sleeping in their cars or renting rooms or apartments somewhere in the area so they can come back to the next shift. Now, yesterday, EMS, New York City EMS, did over 7,000 calls. 7,000 calls. Okay. That's more than they did on 9/11. Over 200 EMS staff themselves tested positive. That means they're out of the system now. Okay. They have to get isolated. That means more work for everybody else. These people are putting in 16-hour shifts, and they're sleeping in their cars because they don't want to go home and expose their families to what's going on. They don't have the equipment either, by a lot. And they're on the front end of it. They go into right in the neighborhood, right in the apartment, help these people out, bring them to the hospital. Okay, these people are exposed. They don't have the equipment for it. Now, more and more states are having stay-at-home orders. The interesting thing is, some states have been blowing this off. Okay. Look at Florida. It took them until last week to get people off the beach. I still don't think all the restaurants are closed in Florida yet. It's an interesting trade-off with the economy and the health of your population. But you can have whatever political belief you want. There's certain reality. Okay? There's reality in the numbers of dead people, of positive cases. That's not going to go away, and your political or religious belief is not going to affect that. Things are happening big time. Right now, the president finally agreed, after a week and a half thereabouts, to put into place the Defense Production Act. However, he only did it for GM to make ventilators. Now, it took him that long. Again, it took... The administration was aware in October, November, what was happening because they had that Crimson contagion study, that simulation. They had it then. They had intel briefings from their own intelligence services in December and January. They continued to blow this off. It wasn't until mid-February before they got semi-serious about it. It took them a week and a half to put the Defense Production Act into place, only for GM to make ventilators. Okay. GM still needs time to retool and manufacture before there's any real output. So that's not happening anytime soon. New York State needs 30,000 ventilators right now. Okay. They don't need them today. They need them for what's about to happen in the next 14 to 21 days when the peak of this is expected to happen. Right now they're already trying to use one ventilator for 2 patients. That it's possible, not a problem with that. It's definitely possible if the vent can handle both of those things, but both patients need to have pretty much identical requirements. Not likely to happen. So somebody's going to get compromised along the way. Now again, New York State needs 30,000 vents for that happening. They have right now about 10,000. A ventilator is a very, very complex piece of equipment. The vents are run primarily under the doctor's direction by respiratory therapists, respiratory technicians, and some ICU nurses. Now, the vent itself is terribly complex with all the lights and dials that it does, but it's basically a very simple thing. It does one simple job. It's an electronic box or mechanical box that blows air into someone's lungs. That's all it does. Now, it only has 3 main controls. How much air does it blow? How often does it give that breath of air? And how fast does the air come out? That's all it does. But in order to do that, they've got tons and tons of complex things happening in the background. So right now, the cost of these things is normally about $25,000 because of the way the states have been tossed to themselves by the government. The federal government says, okay, we're not supply clerks, do it yourself. Well, now you've got 50 states and some foreign countries trying to maneuver for a very limited supply of things, so the price ends up going up. And on top of that, FEMA comes in and tries to place their order for stuff too. So the cost of normally a $25,000 ventilator is now up to about $45,000. Again, why? Because the Defense Production Act was not put into place. Okay. If it's a federal disaster, okay, you need a coordinated federal response all up and down the entire supply line. Okay. There are pieces that go into the ventilator that GM is going to need at some point in time. That Defense Production Supply Act needs to apply to everyone in the entire chain. It's not there. New testing just got approved not too long ago. I think it was yesterday actually. 15-minute test. Great. Okay. We don't know how well it works, but it's got approved. Something is better than nothing at this point in time. However, it still needs time for production and distribution. So right now, the testing remains grossly inadequate. There are still people lined up at 6 o'clock in the morning in Elmhurst Hospital in New York City, okay, trying to get tests. And they run out. What a surprise. First-line healthcare workers can't get tested. You can't get tested until you're seriously symptomatic, and by the time you're pretty much finished. Okay, you're just, confirming what everybody else already knows. So you can't identify the extent of the problem until you know what's going on. Without the testing, okay, we're just doing a crapshoot. It really is. They're doing what they can, but this is really off the wall. The politics of this, it gets more comical every day if you can put comedy to the situation where people are dying, especially at this rate. The president is currently floating the idea of quarantining New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Well, that's an interesting thought. While he's talking about quarantining, now he's talking about quarantining. For most of the month of February, he just blew this off. Well, it's only 10 cases and it's under control. Well, it's not under control. Okay, and now he's talking about quarantining. And you got a Republican governor down in Florida who won't even close their restaurants. Okay, and still had people on the beaches. Louisiana governor, same situation. Okay, he's in no rush to close things down. The mayor of New Orleans, she'll close it down in a second. And she may be about to. She'll close down her city, put some stay-in-place orders sometime soon. It's coming up. As their numbers increase, the mayors are taking more action than some of the governors are, which is really scary. Now, what else is going on? To have a quarantine, this is like the movie Outbreak. You can't do it without the National Guard. Well, the National Guard happens to be under the control of the individual state governors. First off, we don't even know that it's legal to try and quarantine cities and states. Don't know that it's actually legal or not. If it were, again, it would come under the National Guard from the individual governors to be able to do that, because the National Guard is the only one who can do that at this point in time. Now, the president is still talking about reopening parts of the country based on risk. Meaning that if you're in the middle of the country and you're in a nice rural area and there's almost nothing going on, very few cases at all, then they might open that up. Well, that's great. How are you controlling the people that come from the more populous area where there are cases into that area? Okay. You can't do that without testing. They don't have the testing yet. What a surprise. Now, they did pass a bill, signed off by the Senate and the House of Representatives. The President signed it the other day. Tons of money going out. Okay. They knew at the time that it wasn't going to be enough, that there were things that were undone. Okay. One of the things in the bill, outside of getting money out to individuals, was that it was going to pay for testing. So that if you're going to get tested, you don't have to worry about paying for the test. However, it didn't concern itself with paying for the treatment. That's probably going to get addressed in the next bill. Okay, because the treatment is terribly expensive. The test is expensive by itself. The treatment is terrible. For the people who actually survive the treatment, it's terribly expensive. Your chances of dying from the virus, again, are about 1%. In a regular flu season, you have a 0.01%. So this is 10 to 100 times worse than the flu in relation to the number of deaths that are about to occur, that are occurring right now. Now, what else is going on? The markets. The markets are always interesting. The markets are closed today, obviously, because it's a weekend. And Friday they were down 915 points. Okay, they had 3 up days. Okay, the bottom is not in place yet. It's not going to be in place. As this thing gets worse, and it is getting worse, the market's going to drop some more. How far? I don't know. The market is not going to come up immediately. It is just not going to happen that way. It doesn't work that way. Now, of all these things happening, how does it affect you? That's the only thing that really counts. That's why I'm here. How do we get you in a way where you can get, protect, and enjoy your money, your life, and your retirement? I'm here to help you do those things. Now, life has changed for you. Life has changed forever and a day. It is not going to go back the way it was. It cannot. It never does. Okay, you have to rethink your plan A. That job that you had that was so secure is not so secure now. Okay, you may have lost your job already. Unemployment benefits are there, but what are you going to do? Okay, what are you going to do for income? If you don't have a trust fund, you don't have a rich relative, what do you do for income? You're working a W-2 job, you're a gig worker, and or you have your own business. Most people are W-2 employees. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, you work for a company, they give you a salary, you show up, you do things, they give you money. That's great. However, in times like this, you realize that, well, there's a hole in that plan. Because if you can't go to work, you can't make money. Gig workers are a little bit better in that they can do things on their own. They don't need an employer. But because you're a gig worker, you have tons of individual employers then that hire you to do the particular job. And then the third category is having your own business. Having your own business is great as long as it's open and you can still do those things to make money. Now, let's talk about where the jobs are for starters. Where are they right now? I mentioned some jobs yesterday, okay, but there are more. There are definitely more jobs. Where are they? What type of jobs can you do? What can you get without an advanced degree? Okay, where are you going to get training at for these jobs? Community colleges, 18 months to 2 years. Tech schools, 18 months to maybe 2.5 years. 4-year colleges also have job categories. Now, where are the jobs at, though? Things in IT. Okay, IT is a big category. That's never going to change. That's growing big time. For my lifetime, IT is going to be big. It's not going to go away. Programming, coding, information security, software developers, physically actually installing the equipment and maintaining the hardware, the electronics, online communications, and right now, just for the hell of it, medical equipment repair. Okay. Still in the healthcare field, but also in IT and medical equipment repair. Interesting field. Some hands-on, some higher training, but an interesting field. Could be employed by a hospital, could do it as a gig worker, or could do it as your own business. Healthcare field. Big right now. Healthcare field always has jobs. No matter what happens in the economy, the healthcare field always has jobs. As we get older, right now living close to 90 or older, okay, there are jobs for healthcare people. Okay, most of them are hospital-based, however. Doctors, nurses, LPNs, RNs, LPNs, respiratory therapists, respiratory technicians, radiologists, radiology techs, phlebotomists, PT, OT aides, shorter training, okay, home health care aides, dental hygienists. People still have teeth. They're still going to go to the dentist. The dentist doesn't do all the work himself. He has staff. There are jobs in dental offices too. Not quite as often as in hospitals, but they're there. Social workers. Okay, it's a degree unto itself. However, they still need interpreters and translators. Education. The world can't function without teachers. For every job that there is, every person there is, they were there because some teacher taught them at some point in time. There's always a place for teachers. Truck delivery services, Amazon food delivery services, always big, getting bigger. Okay, Uber, Lyft drivers. All you need is a car and a license. Okay, blue-collar jobs still exist without a doubt in the world. Tons of those things exist. They still have those things. They're not going to go away. Okay, somebody still needs to have a plumber, an electrician, a carpenter, a painter, a home handyman. Welders are also big. Welders are a good paying job. Okay, some specialized training for that, but not that long of a training period. It's okay. There are things that are available right now. Bookkeeping and tax prep. Okay. As All these small businesses crop up. They're going to need bookkeeping services. They can't keep track of those things. Bookkeeping is relatively simple. Tax prep. Okay, you don't need a degree for that either. Okay, you need some training, but it's relatively short training. Massage therapists. Okay, you think people are stressed right now? Yeah. You think they need massages to try and relax a little bit? Yeah. As there's more stress, there's going to be more need for a massage therapist. Something that you can do W-2, or most of them are gig workers, and some of them have their own businesses. Okay. Always good. Bicycle repair people. Okay. As we move to a greener economy, okay, people want to be healthier. They're ditching their cars, going to go on bicycles. Bicycle needs to be repaired. Wind turbine and solar tech people. Okay. Upcoming jobs. Now, they can try and revive the coal industry all they want. It is not happening. The coal industry is dead. Sorry, if you're a coal miner, you already know your job just doesn't exist anymore. They cut those jobs. Coal is not coming back. Let's be realistic about that. Wind and solar are coming up in the next 15, 20 years. Can you honestly see anybody having coal mines and stoking coal into a burner 15, 20 years from now? It's not happening. Let's get real, folks. Okay, solar and wind are big upcoming things. Natural gas is there, but there's no individual jobs for that. That's a company-wide type of a job. Now, you really have to rethink your financial long-term security and your long-term financial life goals. You know, the world has changed. It's not going to go back to where it was. While you're rethinking your plan A, the type of jobs that you had, what additional job you could have on the side as a plan B, okay, some type of gig work or business is generally going to be in that area. You could have a W-2 job, okay, but because of what's already happened, you already saw that there's holes in there. You want something to plug those holes, some type of a plan B, some type of thing that you can do on your side, some type of gig working thing that you can do to add on, or some business that you can do on the side. Okay, always very, very handy. Now, I can't address everything right now, and I had mentioned a couple days ago, I have 10 keys to an ideal business. I'm going to post that link on my YouTube page, so you'll have that, and you'll have some idea of the things you could be doing, the types of business that are going to work out better for you than others. People are starting to take this seriously in some part of the country right now, and it's really important. More people are starting their own businesses. They were starting them before this. They're starting them now in droves. It's difficult to start a business right now. I help people with their plan Bs. You go to drrousenow.com, and I show people how to retire in just 3 to 5 years, starting with as little as $10,000. However, that program is not right for everybody. If you're in a situation where you're worried about paying the rent, you're worried about paying your mortgage next month, it's probably not going to work for you. Okay? But if you're in a different category that is looking for something longer term, it might be worth taking a peek at. drrousenow.com, and just take a peek at that. And if you want to look at it, we can schedule a call and we can chat and see if it's going to work for you or not. Now, more and more states have stay-at-home orders. More and more cities are putting them in place when the governors are not. Okay. There are going to be more and more medical staffing shortages because the doctors didn't know what they were dealing with originally. The federal government blew it off. They didn't tell anybody what was going on. The doctors thought it was just another strain of flu. No big deal. Well, now all those doctors who treated those patients a month ago are getting sick now. Doctors that are in there every day treating patients the entire shift with COVID-19, chances are some of them are going to get sick. They're going to get pulled out of the system. More strain on the existing doctors, fewer people available to treat the existing workload, which is getting bigger. Again, they're expecting 14 to 21 days for the peak of this in New York State. Now, testing lines are long. Okay, they're going to remain long for a while now because the supplies are simply not there. They have to ramp up the manufacture of these things and the distribution of them. Again, remember, don't change your behavior to avoid infection. Okay? Assume you're infected and change your behavior to avoid transmission. Even if the cities and states are not responsible, you can be responsible yourself. Because who you end up passing this on to are your friends and family. the people you actually care about, the people who you see or try to see or used to see on a daily basis. So, interesting things happen in times like this. A lot of people stepping up. But it brings out the best and the worst in people. And this is really no different. Okay, it's doing the same thing. Okay, right now, chances are in the next couple of weeks, maybe 3, you're going to get a relief payment from the government, from the IRS. Okay, it's going to be direct deposit. However, we never go through a time like this without somebody taking advantage of the situation, and there are slime bags out there without a doubt in the world. Watch out for the scams. The IRS will never, ever call you over the phone. The IRS will never email you asking for any information. The IRS will never call you asking for any information. As states come on board, the states also will not immediately call you or ask you for information. They never do that. They always physical mail first. That's what they do. So if someone is calling you and asking for information, no. If somebody's emailing you, asking you to go on a site for information, no. You don't have to apply for anything online. You don't have to give anybody information over the phone. For the IRS or for the state, don't do those things. Don't disclose your information. Now, on the flip side, there's one guy, he was on Facebook last year. He was cutting lawns for senior citizens, cutting them for free. Nice guy in the neighborhood, cutting lawns. Okay, right now he's delivering meals for free for these seniors. Okay, kids are donating money to help buy masks. People are still sewing and donating masks. The nation is coming together because once the norms that they once knew are falling apart, this nation is bound by the individuals and how they respond to each other. We're a very caring nation. We do amazing things when times are tough. Times are tough right now. We'll get through this thing without a doubt in the world. But check on your friends and family. Call them. FaceTime with them. Okay? Let them know that you're there. Let them know that you exist. FaceTiming is great. Either on an iPad or a tablet or on a computer. It's a great thing to be able to do that. Now, you're going to get through this. When it's all said and done, things will be different. They are never going to get back to the same. Don't fear the change. Don't fear the change. Okay? You're going to come out of this better on the other side. You end up being much more self-sufficient so that when these things happen again in the future, and again, something always happens. Something always happens. But when it happens again in the future, you're going to come out much, much more self-sufficient. Now, if you've got kids, young kids anyway, my wife, Dr. Terry, does a reading at 7:30. Okay, for the kids, it's coming up in just a couple of minutes. Every day, I'm posting new and interesting links on my YouTube channel, The Real Money Doctor. Okay, like and share this video. Go on the YouTube channel. I've got tons of additional information there that is informational for starters, interesting, and some entertainment. Some educational training things also. So go there, like and share that. Again, I appreciate you being here. I look forward to helping you get, protect, and enjoy your money, life, and retirement. For now, I'm Dr. Fred Rouse, the Real Money Doctor, and I hope to see you again tomorrow around 7 o'clock. Thank you. Bye now.